Hello, you lovely people. Welcome to or welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's me, Jani or Honeo, and it's been a long time since I've recorded or even uploaded on my YouTube channel. A lot of stuff has happened. My brother graduated, my cousin got married, I'm happily in an organization, and I've been reconnecting with a lot of my friends, old friends. So let's just jump right into the video. So, the sophomore slump. What is it? Warning, this is not going to be a super research heavily backed video. This is just for context. So, the sophomore slump. What is it and how I deal with it? According to research, and I'll link this in my description. So, the sophomore slump is essentially characterized by feeling unmotivated about studying or continuing university, being anxious about the future, having a lot of self-doubt, an academic decline from your first year performance to your second year or any year in particular that isn't your freshman year, and having high expectations from yourself and still feeling very burnt out to meet them. So this has three areas: academics, personal, and relationships. So for academics, example, it's the pressure to choose a major, taking upper level classes with juniors or seniors that may have formed closer relationships with the professor. Two, for personal, it's the uncertainty about your direction in life. It's feeling guilty about the time and money gone into college when you're uncertain about where to go in your life, and changing and challenging the previously held family values. And three, relationships. The desire for intimacy increases, friendship ties at home decrease, the desire to not go home on breaks increase. So that's a lot of definitions, right? So what are some examples of this? So common examples are skipping classes because you find them uninteresting or you're unmotivated or just too tired to study it. And missing deadlines because you aren't exactly on top of your academics at this point or you're interested in doing other things. So with those definitions and examples, I want to share my experience. So the examples are like what my sophomore slump in particularly looks like, because it's different for everyone. For me, it looks like having a hyperfixation on some of my subjects that I'm taking, but having a lack of interest in the other ones. Like I just submit requirements and recite in class. But if you ask me if I am passionate or motivated to like the class, yeah, that's kind of absent. Second is general anxiety over the future. Like especially if you take, or at least in my experience, taking a degree program that's so broad and encompassing, you can do a lot of things with that. And because you can do a lot of things and it doesn't restrict you to, let's say, a licensure exam or a board exam that has like a concrete career for it, it's really broad, and I find that challenging for me to find a path in the future that sticks because it changes a lot throughout college. Like in my freshman year, I used to think that I wanted to do this or that, but in my second year, it changed again, and that kind of ensues some self-doubt. And I guess a third example of what sophomore slump looks like for me, it's missing a lot of my friends and reconnecting a lot with them because they're my home in campus. Like I kid you not, they're my rest in campus. They motivate me, or even they tell me to rest. So since I get tired of studying some things that I don't like in particular, I tend to rely on them more, become more close to them. And that's not bad. It's just like a point. So now that we know what it looks like, I thought, what are the root causes of these problems? So I thought as a sociology student, I thought of it in two ways. The first one is personal, like the personal level, and the second one is structural, on a grand level. So let's start from micro to macro. So the ones that I personally noticed, like my personal problem, is that I place a lot of pressure on myself and I have a general lack of interest. So what do I pressure myself with? I pressure myself to excel in all of these courses. Like, I tell myself that I should be able to retain all this information. My write-ups, I should always be proud of them. That's good because I push myself to be the best version of myself. But the reality is, I have a lack of interest. The degree program I'm currently taking, it's not necessarily my dream degree program. It's not necessarily what I wanted to take originally. And with that comes a lot of pressure to continue to push on. It takes a lot more motivation for me to finish something because of that conflict that I'm not really interested in some of these courses. A structural problem or issue that is to be dealt with for me personally, it's teaching style and hectic schedule. So in the university I'm currently attending, sometimes you don't have the power to design your own schedule or to get the units or subjects that you want because you kind of just take what's available or who professor is available. And because of that, some teaching styles don't really work for me. Like I don't really excel in spaced out. I don't really excel in courses that have a lot of exams. In general, I don't really like exams. I don't mind it, but I don't really like it. And I don't excel in classes that are just lecture based, like they don't have any activity or interaction with other students. I learn more by talking to other students and to talking to my professor directly. So when it's just like a lecture and a presentation, I don't really learn much and I tend to space out. And you can't change your professor's teaching style, nor can the teacher change how you react to that teaching style or how you submit requirements to such class. So because of that, it's a give and take. It's an exchange that has to happen. And so you have to adjust again and again and again. And hectic schedule. I'm a student assistant on top of being a student. So it also takes quite a lot of my time because I want to make money. I want to have additional cash in my account for emergency purposes, for investing in a bike. So it's really important to me and I can't just drop it because I have academics. So that's another thing that adds to me being tired and less motivated. So now that we talked about examples of what my sophomore slump looks like and what are the root causes, what are the barriers as to why I haven't solved it for a few months? Well, 1, it's the lack of energy, 2, denial, and 3, just no time. I originally thought when I was having some academic decline, I'm not failing my classes, but it feels like I don't retain as much information and it took me a way longer time to memorize the lessons than it usually did. Like I used to spend 2 hours, 1.5 hours like reading for a requirement, but then it took me 3 hours to just understand what I was reading, and I was like, what's going on? I thought I was just burnt out from studying. I thought that maybe I just don't like this course or like course subject, or like maybe I should just sleep. I thought the problem was that I lacked sleep. But then, that's a part of the problem. Anyway, I just thought I could solve it with like sleeping. But then that wasn't the case, because even if I slept enough, even if I got 8 hours of sleep, I still couldn't retain the amount of information that I wanted to retain. So then I thought, man, I don't have time to fix this. And I knew that if I had to fix this problem, it takes a lot to fix because it felt so deep. So I tried to avoid it, which is obviously not a good idea. So, what is the solution then? The solution is progress. Making progress even when it's not visible. So I have 5 steps. So the first one is accept that I can't force myself to like something. So that quote, fake it till you make it. Do I believe in that? Partially, but not really. I think that yes, if you have higher exposure to, let's say, quality education or quality design of curriculum, that still won't guarantee you like your course, but maybe it'll make it more interesting for you. Second, if you surround yourself with more people who are passionate about the course or people who like the degree program, maybe yes, that definitely will influence you to like it more because you see more motivated people. But to fake it like, oh, I'm so passionate, I'm so motivated, painting it like you're absolutely perfectly fine with where you are, I think you can do it, but you can't do it authentically, like within your heart. You can do it to push through and get through, but I don't think it's really that possible to pull a 180 or a 360, suddenly liking everything that you're doing. It's okay to de-romanticize college. I didn't have a romanticized view of college because I live within the campus. I never really thought like, oh, I'm finally free, or I can do whatever I want. I can finally study things that I want. I never had that view, so I never had that crash. But it's okay to feel like your expectations were wrong in your first year. Because you're finally living college, and I really think it's okay. So, second, recognize the niches that work. So, I think college and high school are kind of similar in a way that you still have to deal with stuff you don't like. In high school, I did not like math. I just didn't see how functions and graphs were needed in practical everyday life. Yet, as a student, you have to finish it because that's what the professor says. That's what's in the curriculum. Did I finish it because I was motivated to like it more? No, I finished it because I needed to. And again, that's okay. I think that's okay. Because I recognize that I have particular strengths and weaknesses. And example, in my degree program, I think it's essential for these kinds of students to know how to critique theories. I'm not good at that. Like, sometimes we have to write entire papers about criticisms and room for improvement or room for more discourse about August Comte and positivism. I can write a paper, but then I don't particularly feel like it's my strength to do. Or we could talk about Durkheim and collective consciousness and analyze how it's applicable today. I don't think I'm not good at applying theories, but what I think I'm good at is asking questions about status quo, because that's why I chose political science as my elective, because I actually enjoyed trying to figure out the correlations between certain structures and institutions in society and how to solve these problems. I'm not really good at analyzing a theory, but I have such a deep interest in solving problems. And so, example, on the topic of voters education, on the topic of not voters education but voters behavior, we were talking about it in a political science class, and our professor mentioned that a small change in a structural institution, example, how campaign guidelines are put down, or when elections are conducted, even if it's delayed for a month or there's a change in campaign guidelines, like the filing of candidacy, that still affects voters' behavior. And so I prompt questions like, how has voters' education impacted voters' behavior? Because we see youth-led organizations have these. We also see other agencies or organizations conduct voters' education, may it be how to vote or who to vote for, but I don't really read a lot of research on what happens after that. So I like finding these niches, and so that led me to realize that if you don't have the luxury or the motivation or the passion for your degree program to have both the strengths required and the interest required for the degree, I would rather choose my strengths over my interests, because just like strengths are the ones that get me through, and I feel like if I stick with my strengths, I would eventually find some niche interest for my future career, thus alleviating my anxiety over what to do for the future, which I don't really feel anxious about anymore. Like I'm also talking about how I've been like bouncing back. I don't feel that anxiety as much anymore because I've found my strength and I want to work with it further. So 3, don't rely on motivation, build discipline. I cannot stress this enough because I've talked about how we deal with certain subjects that we don't like, how we don't match with the vibes or the teaching style of a professor, and yet we still have to finish it. So I think this is really important. Discipline is so important. I love making schedules, I love feeling organized, and maybe that doesn't work for other people, but this is what works for me and I'd like to share it anyway. So discipline. I have like this notebook. Let me just show you a page that is showable. What is this? I think this is showable. There. I hope you can't read it. I'll just put it far away. So every day I write down like what I need to study, what needs to get done. And that really gets me going. And it helps me finish tasks better. Like discipline is really important because even if you're tired, sometimes you don't have time to have a break. So you have to create this discipline to keep you going. 4, treat myself. I also can't stress this enough because I honestly used to punish myself if I wasn't able to finish a task. Like example, I have 3 things to do in a day. Let's say write a paper, complete my readings, finish my research proposal. Let's just say that. And even if I made progress on all of those, I used to think that that wasn't enough. It's the productivity cycle that I was trapped in. But then I talked to my friends and I said that, do I deserve coffee? Should I buy a cookie? And then they said that, yes, because you're exhausted. And I think it'd do you great justice if you did that. And I did. And I felt better. I think treating myself was such a great suggestion by my friends, and I'm so grateful. And 5, join extracurricular activities. Like, I had that 1-year break from anything big, and that was a great step, 100%. But I'm at this point, I'm in my sophomore year. That's presumably half of my college life already. What do I mean by extracurriculars? Something where or like 1, you can decide on how to apply what you've learned. Like example, like go to volunteering. Like if I think volunteering applies for every degree program. Like example, for me as a sociology student, looking at volunteering summits or going to these community immersion seminars, etc. It helps me appreciate my course more, on my degree program more. Or 2, go to something completely unrelated, like tap back into your passions. So you can appreciate college as a sphere. It's not just studying all the time, submitting my requirements all the time. College is a community. College is a chapter in your life. You don't have to structurally no, you don't have to structurally limit yourself to just doing that, because sometimes you forget the greater scale of things, that there are so many people to meet, there's so many organizations to talk to, there's so much people to learn from. So taking a step out of academics might feel like, oh no, it's a waste of time, I should be studying. I think it's so important to recharge your energy, taking one step back to take 5 steps forward. And yes, those are the solutions. It's a progress. It takes time. It takes time. It's a progress, and I think it's really worth it. So, what do I have to say to you, viewer? All I have to say is that take a break. Reconnect with your hobbies. Reconnect with the people that you love. Or go out. Meet people you love. I don't know. Or find a new hobby. It's so important to achieve a work, school, life balance, whatever it is. Can it be balanced all the time? No. There's gonna be times when you're gonna sacrifice your sleep to study. There's gonna be times you can't talk to your friends because you're busy with personal time or with your organization. But that's okay. It's about a cycle. It's not really, I don't think it's linear. It's cyclical. It's ups and downs. It's not a straight, yes, my recovery is going to be there. There's gonna be times when you just don't feel like recovering, because maybe the easier thing is to fall back into that pattern of just doing things for the sake of doing it. But I'm committed to a satisfying life. I'm committed to being content with my life, and I'm willing to make that change. And I hope you are too. So it's finally my vlog. It is long, but it's just me rambling. And I hope that it made sense. And I hope it meant something to you, because this video is really important to me. So I'll see you guys in the next vlog. And goodbye. Bye.